joining us. And I'm going to piggyback on what Perry mentioned about programming. I was just speaking today with Colie and Candace Roper, who is a doula and teaches birthing classes, parenting classes in town, and is an amazing resource as well. She was actually one of our prior speakers for our speaker series and did a great speaker series on postpartum tips. So check that out if you haven't checked it out. But the reason I bring that up is because Colie, Candace, and I are planning and developing a postpartum workshop. And that's probably going to be launching in early January. So that will include a nice grounding opening flow with Colie relating to reconnecting with your body. And that's kind of the theme that we're going with for this postpartum workshop, as well as I'll do a kind of pelvic floor 101, common patterns you see postpartum with pain and posture, self-treatments, when you should see specialists, and answer some of those questions. And Candace will be working on postpartum tips from her expertise in terms of like her professional background. So stay tuned. We will be announcing that close to early December. So we just wanted to give you a heads up on that. But without further ado, for tonight, we're so excited to have Colie. I met Colie we did a prenatal postpartum yoga teacher training together, and that was like 5 or 6 years ago. And we have remained connected ever since. She's one of the most phenomenal human beings that I know. And since that time, she's so dedicated to nurturing mamas in so many different ways. So one of which is through her yoga practices, where she really brings really pertinent themes to parents and mamas prenatally, postpartum. And so she's here to guide us with her expertise. So thank you, Colie. You got to unmute yourself.
There we go. There we go. Thank you, Joanna. Thank you, Perry and Sarah. I'm just really thrilled to be here. I love what the Hive Family Collective is doing, this valuable resource for women, mothers, fathers, families in our area. It's really awesome, and I was thrilled that that Perry asked me to host tonight for a really calming restorative yoga practice. So before we get started, before we go into our practice, and I hope everyone maybe received the sheet on creating your space, and what I maybe failed to mention was exactly what props we're using tonight. But yoga props are always very important, specifically in a restorative yoga practice, and then I use them all the time in prenatal and postnatal. And so there's a lot of things you can just find in your own house if you don't have exactly yoga props. But so first, I'm seating right now on top of a yoga blanket. So this is just kind of a thicker blanket. You can either use a couple towels or a couple blankets that you have from home. Pillows also work well too. So I have 2 of those available for practice today. I also have yoga blocks, which are just helpful for getting up, laying down. We'll also stack them at the end for a nice restorative pose. So if you don't have yoga blocks, that's okay. Again, we can either use pillows or other things to stack on top. A chair is a really good alternative for yoga blocks that can help us, and we'll be using that for a couple poses tonight too. Or sometimes people use thicker books, so that can be helpful. If you don't have a chair, that's okay. We can also use a wall. I'm just going to give a couple different modifications for each pose as we go forward. And then one thing, definitely for the end, towards the end of class, is a yoga bolster. And so again, if you don't have a yoga bolster, a thicker pillow or a combination of pillows and towels will work just fine. So if you guys want to grab those real quick, and then I'll slowly start to kind of open up. I just want to make sure everyone has what they need in their space. Like I say, sorry guys, should have prompted that ahead of time, but you know, it just takes a couple minutes to kind of get there before we get started. So these poses we're going to do today are accessible for prenatal, for postnatal, and then for just mamas in general on the journey of motherhood, right? So Yeah, so to get started, we'll just come to a nice easy seat. So I'm gonna go ahead and sit on my blanket. I'm gonna sit in a cross-legged position. I would sit further back so you can see me, but I kind of want you to see me for the breath work. So I'm gonna sit closer. So something underneath your seat, like that blanket or a pillow or a block, just something to help prop the hips so that they're above the knees. And this just helps with posture. So posture is hugely important for prenatal yoga. As far as babies growing and developing, we want to make sure to give them all the space that they need to develop and grow to their heart's content, as well as move into optimal fetal positioning. Also really nice to have good posture for core stabilization. And so to help promote strength in the core, even though in prenatal we don't really have the use of the abdominals so much as babes grow and developing, we still have side body and back body. Also really helpful to create nice room for mama to breathe. And as we start with our yoga practice, we start with centering and some breath work. We want to make sure there's a nice open airflow for that breath to move freely about. And then as you move forward into postpartum, posture is huge for postpartum recovery to help to connect back to those abdominal areas and those core areas. And then just in general, you know, as we are, it helps to promote good confidence, like I say, nice open airway. So posture is everything, especially in yoga. So nice easy seat. We can move flesh away from sits bones so that we have even grounding through both sits bones. Nice long spine. I always love to start by inhaling, rolling the shoulders up towards the ears, and then relaxing the shoulders back and down. Go ahead and swallow and relax your throat and your jaw. And let your tongue kind of fall away from the roof of your mouth. And close your eyes. And just begin to connect with your natural breathing. So let the breath move in all the way deep down to the belly. And as you exhale, feel a nice sense of release, a sense of letting go. And as you bring awareness to your breath, you observe the breath begin to lengthen and slow. You start to feel the body come to a little deeper state of relaxation. And then you start to bring awareness to your mind. So moving through your day today, in your mind, start to let little pieces of the day go. So maybe you were at work or running your children from here to there, going to the grocery store, any of those responsibilities that mamas, take on every single day. Smile and feel gratitude and respect for yourself for all of those things you do, and then just let them go. And allow yourself to become present. Allow yourself to begin to give yourself the gift of your yoga practice today. I love the quote, "Taking care of yourself is the most powerful way to begin to care for others." And sometimes it takes practice for us to let ourselves rest or relax. But that practice can have deep, peaceful effects, not only on ourselves, but also on our children. Whether baby is in your womb right now, and the peaceful effects directly are affecting that little one, or the children waiting for you in the next room, giving yourself this time to replenish your energy, to relax and rejuvenate, you can bring fresh energy to your family. Continuing to breathe slow and smooth. Again, feeling that sense of relaxation. And feeling truly connected to your own being. So wherever you are in the breath, exhale everything out. We're going to take a nice centering breath today. So deep inhale, long, slow inhale through the nose, all the way to the top of the breath. Feel your spine lengthening, feel your heart opening, your head gently lifting. At the top of the breath, pause for a moment and just observe your body. Then exhale out slowly through the nose. Feel a sense of release, of letting go, awareness. At the bottom of the breath, pause, observe your body. Inhale, long, slow, deep inhale. All the way to the top of the breath. See if you can drink just a little more air in, expanding the lungs deep down to belly. Pause, observe. Exhale, slow releasing exhale. Follow the breath all the way down to the bottom of the breath. Pause. One more nice deep inhale, slow, expansive, filling your lungs, filling your soul. Top of the breath, pause. Maybe you drink in just a little more. Observe and feel that refreshing, deep exhale, smooth as silk out through the nose. And grounding through both sits bones. Let's inhale, reach both arms up to the sky. Bring the palms together. Exhale, bring the hands into your heart and let your head bow. Taking a moment to honor the beautiful being that you are, the amazing woman, the amazing mother. Allow yourself to receive the gift of yoga today and to receive its many calming and restorative benefits. If you'd like to set an intention for your practice today, feel free. And slowly begin to flutter your eyes open with a soft gaze. You can release the hands down onto your thighs or knees. If your legs are crossed, you can go ahead and uncross them and bring them out in front of you. Just go ahead and roll out the ankles. So kind of pointing and flexing your feet, rolling out your ankles one way, rolling them another way. Always nice to loosen up the legs after holding that cross-legged pose. And take the knees up, let them fall to one side, and we're going to come onto hands and knees. So depending on what kind of floor you're on, if you need a little extra cushion from your blanket or from a pillow, you can place it under your knees. Otherwise, you can just move it out to the side. Bringing your hands under your shoulders and your knees under your hips. Let your toes tuck. Gently rock forward on the palm of the hands and back on the toes, and start to feel when all parts, hands, knees, and feet are evenly supporting your body. When you feel this, consciously root down. Inhale, feel a nice lengthening, creating space in the vertebrae from the crown of the head to the tailbone. And then as you exhale, relax into the shoulders. Looking between the hands, place the left hand directly under the chin and spread the fingers wide. Take a refreshing inhale as you roll the right arm up to the sky, right shoulder comes on top of the left. And then as you exhale, bring the right arm underneath the left all the way down to the mat. Bring the left hand in front of the head for support. We'll be resting the right cheek onto the mat. So little gentle twist here, nothing too intense. You feel the knees and the sits bones parallel. As you breathe, feel a little opening in the space between the shoulder blades. Nice little stretch in the shoulders. Take one more deep inhale. As you exhale, ground into the left hand and guide yourself back up out of this little twist, going back to neutral spine, tabletop. Coming back to that neutral spine, take a deep inhale. As you exhale, relax into the shoulders. Look once again between the hands. Place the right hand directly under the chin and spread the fingers wide. Inhale, left arm reaches to the sky, rolling the shoulder back on top of the right. Exhale, bringing the left hand underneath the right, all the way down to the mat. Right hand comes in front of the head for support, resting the left cheek down. Stay strong in the legs, the toes are tucked. As you inhale, feel the breath in the space between the shoulder blades, opening them up. Exhale, slow and smooth. Ground into the right hand. Slowly unwind consciously. And come back to your neutral spine. Very nice. Coming into a little cat and cow to warm up the spine. So staying aware, if you are second or third trimester pregnancy, we want to avoid deep back bend. If you are early on postpartum and you've had any issue with separation, the diastases recti, also want to avoid deep back bend. If you're later stages mama and you want to really go for that back bend, feel free. I'm not going to because I'm 20 weeks pregnant. So as we inhale, I'm going to keep a nice neutral spine, lift my chin, look at the sky. As I exhale, press the ground away, tuck the chin, round the spine. So just like you connected to that natural breath at the beginning of class, flow with your own natural breath. Inhale, opening up, cow pose. And exhale, rounding down. Nice subtle movements, listening to your body and following the flow of the breath. Let's take one more deep inhale. Exhale everything out. Come back to your neutral spine, tabletop. We're going to come to our first restorative pose. It's a supported child's pose. So taking either the bolster or a couple blankets stacked on top of each other works too. So for prenatal, knees come quite far apart, toes can touch. And what we're going to do is focus on just resting head down while maintaining a lot of space for our belly, a lot of space for baby. Postnatal and other mamas, you can bring that bolster or those blankets all the way nice and close to you and rest your whole abdomen down onto the bolster. Turning one cheek to the side. If you have any pain in your ankles or your knees. You can roll one of the blankets or towels and place it underneath the ankles for a little extra support, or behind the knees, specifically for anyone who's had any knee injury. That can be a really nice support. So continuing to breathe, feeling the breath move now into the back body. So you feel the back ribs expand. You feel yourself supported by the bolster or the blankets. You feel a gentle stretch on the hips and the front of your legs, the thighs. Gentle stretch in the ankles. Your arms are resting gently on either side of the bolster, and you start to feel the shoulders spreading across the back. With every round of breath, you allow your front body to relax a little bit deeper towards the prop or towards the floor. For prenatal mamas, you're allowing the uterus to come out of the pelvis slightly, come closer to the floor, giving babe plenty of room to move around. For postnatal and other mamas, you're just letting yourself release into the prop and be held and supported. Maybe your eyes are closed or a soft gaze. You start to feel a gentle release in the low back. A few more rounds of slow, steady breathing, and we will switch sides. So one more nice deep inhale, followed by a long releasing exhale. Placing the hands on either side of the bolster, simply lift yourself up just enough to turn your head and rest the opposite cheek down on the prop beneath you. And let your eyes close once again. Feel that gentle rise and fall of the breath. And feel yourself in tune with the natural rhythms of your breathing. Feel a deep sense of peace and calm. As we hold child's pose, we feel as if we are a child again, curling up, feeling supported, feeling that sense of introspection and turning inwards. And take just one or two more rounds of breath. Inhale, feel the back body rise. Exhale, begin to spread the fingers wide. Slowly use the strength of your hands and arms to push yourself back up to tabletop with that neutral spine. Take a moment to move the prop out of the way, off to the side. Hips will stay high, toes are tucked. Let's just take the arms out in front of us for a puppy pose. Reaching the hands out, letting your forehead rest on the mat, And rocking your head gently from side to side. Little massage on the forehead. Strong hands press down. Inhale, roll the spine back up to neutral position. Coming towards the top of your mat and connecting either to your yoga blocks or to your chair, whatever prop you have. We'll just take a moment to bring one leg up, followed by the other, coming to a forward fold. So I love to use blocks or a chair here, especially to help get my feet situated. So feet can be hips distance apart, or if you're prenatal and you want a little more room, you can heel toe the feet slightly wider. Take a moment to roll forward on the ball of the foot, back on the heel, and start to feel when all parts of your feet are evenly rooted down. Spread the toes wide. Feel the arches of your feet actively holding and supporting you. Knees slightly bent. Then inhale, flow your hands to your shins. Press your upper body up halfway and start to breathe into the hamstrings. Starting to lengthen and stretch the hamstrings. Maybe you even get a little bit into the calves. Roll the shoulders back. Feel a lengthening through the spine. And then as you exhale, surrender, fold forward. Maybe your fingers come to your toes. Maybe they come back to your blocks or your chair for support. Or maybe your hands come to your forearms or elbows. And let your head hang and be heavy. So staying strong in the feet and legs. Maybe you still have a little bend in the knee, that's just fine. But feel a sense of release through the spine, the shoulders, and the neck. Maybe you gently rock the upper body side to side. Or even shake your head yes. Or shake your head no. Feel all that tightness, that tension, relaxing away from the neck and shoulders. Wherever you are in the breath, exhale everything out. Let your fingers dangle back to the toes. Take a deep inhale on the back body. And as you exhale, bend your knees, tuck your chin, and slowly start to roll your spine up, taking as much time as you like. Wonderful. Felt so good. So now as an option, we're going to do what calls a half wall hang. It's kind of like a downward facing dog, but using either the wall in front of you or using your chair. So I'll demonstrate first from the chair, and then I'll show you what the wall version looks like, and you can do whatever works best for you. So feet are going to be, again, hips distance apart or slightly wider, just depending on what feels good for you and your body. Just like we set up in our Uttanasana forward fold, we're going to have strong arches rooting down, supporting our body. If I'm going for the chair, I'm just going to inhale, reach my arms to the sky. Exhale, bring my hands to my hips. Guide myself in a slow forward fold. Reach out for the chair. Like downward facing dog arms, I'm going to spread my fingers wide and start to press the chair away from my body, extending back through my tailbone. My knees are a little bit bent here, so I'm going to walk my feet back a little bit further. Rounding through the feet, toes turn slightly in, heels slightly out. And what we're really doing here is extending through the spine, opening up the shoulders and letting the front body kind of hang towards the floor. Lengthening the hamstrings, slightly opening the hips, getting into the calves as we ground through the heels. This can feel really good for postnatal mamas or really any of us that round the back through the day, helping to open across the front body. So that's if we're using the chair. If we're using the wall, we can come to line up in front of the wall, hands, shoulders distance apart, spread the fingers wide, feet, hips distance apart. Walk ourselves slowly back and walk the hands slowly down until we come to that kind of parallel to the floor. Still being supported by the wall, letting the shoulders open, pressing back through the tailbone, grounding through the heels. This can be really nice in prenatal yoga as well, for fetal positioning to help give the babe plenty of space. As we hold this, envision how you're creating space through the spine. And with your exhales, surrendering, opening across the heart. We'll do just a few more rounds of breath. Long inhales, releasing exhales. And taking one more full round. And exhaling everything out. Begin to press the door away from you. Slowly start to walk yourself up. If you're using the chair, you can start to walk your feet in towards the chair. Bend the knees, inhale, let's all reach our hands towards the sky. Exhale, hinge at the hips and fold forward. Hands come back to shins. Let's come up halfway, long spine. One more nice deep inhale into those hamstrings. Exhale, using the blocks or the chair. We'll bring one knee down, followed by the other, back onto our mat. We'll take a prop underneath our seat. So I'm using a blanket once again. See if you can see me better. There we go. So we're going to do a wide leg forward fold supported. Now this is going to be for prenatal and for mamas who are past the postnatal period. For postnatal, we're going to do a staff pose, keeping the legs together and doing a forward fold in that way. But regardless, we're going to use either the bolster or a pillow or chair here. So I'll show you what all of those look like. So I guess version 1 will be the wide leg forward fold. So legs out to the side, flexing the feet. You can move flush away from sits bones. This is wonderful prenatal, specifically opening up hips and adductor muscles, helping just to create nice openness. This feels good for really anyone though. Adductor muscles can get so tight. We have the bolster we can use either at like a medium setting height. This is my very favorite. Some of us who might feel a little tighter, maybe we like a really tall setting. And what we do is roll forward through the pelvic bone and then rest the forehead down onto the bolster or onto the prop, crossing arms, resting down. If you don't have the bolster, but you have a chair, chair is awesome. Place right in front of you. I guess it'd be better if I turn to the side. Cross the forearms and rest your head down. Just continue that motion of rolling forward through pelvic bone. For postnatal mamas, we're just gonna avoid that deep opening through the legs. So keeping that staff pose, keeping legs together. Same thing though, either using prop, placing forehead down, or crossing the forearms and laying the forehead down. Or bringing the chair in front of you and crossing the forearms. So restorative poses, the most important thing is that you are comfortable in the pose. So making modifications anytime you need to find that comfortable position so that you can let your body relax. And then you can start to let your mind relax. So adjusting, you can always make your prop higher if you need to, if it's too much of a stretch. Returning back to your breath, the calming breath, that long, slow, deep inhale. Maybe you even have that pause at the top of the breath to observe your body. And then flowing, following the exhale, letting your body release a little bit deeper in the pose. We'll take just a few more rounds of breath. Taking one more deep inhale. As we exhale, using strength of hands and arms to press down on your prop, you can tuck your chin and slowly guide your back to a neutral position. Great job. Go ahead and bring the legs together. You can shake out the knees once again, roll the ankles, roll them one way, roll them another way. Great for breaking up fluid in the legs. Prenatal if you're swelling in the legs, or come on, moms, we're always on our feet, right? So kind of giving yourself that little massage. Wonderful. So our next pose is legs up the wall pose, which is one of my very favorite. And again, we're going to have two different options. One that we can use the chair, and then one that we can use the wall. And then there's different modifications for prenatal and for postnatal and for other mamas. So I'll start with prenatal using the chair, postnatal using the chair, and then I'll move to the wall and show you there. So for prenatal, of course, we never want to lie directly on our back, or specifically in second and third trimester, we want to avoid it. So using either a blanket or bolster underneath your low back, and scooching your, I'll go. I've never done this in front of a computer before. So coming to your side first, avoiding wrenching your stomach in any way, rolling on side, moving your hips onto the blanket, then walking your feet on top of the chair. And so, I mean, this can feel nice too, having something under the low back, even if you're not prenatal. So it's kind of up to you. But here, we'll just let our legs rest. That slight inversion, allowing fluid to move from the feet back into the legs, into the center. You know, sometimes standing all the time, we swell. You could potentially lift the legs up and do a modified version of legs up the wall, but you'd be holding it. So sometimes holding is not always the most comfortable. If you would prefer to use the wall, coming either with your prop or without your prop, as close as you can get to the wall, moving your bum as close as you can get, rolling on the shoulder, and then walking the legs up on the wall. And that's really the best version of the pose because you feel supported by the wall. You let the heels rest. Ooh, my baby just moved a little. It's funny. You can point and flex your feet once again and just kind of massage that fluid to move through the legs. Roll the ankles one way, roll them another way. A couple other options for this pose would be to bring the soles of the feet together and hold kind of a Baddha Konasana butterfly pose to open up the hips. Of course, probably avoiding that postnatally depending on where you are healing. You can also, depending on your space, open the legs out to the side, kind of what we did with a wide leg, and just allowing yourself to access a little deeper into adductor muscles and hips. Arms, you can either roll the palms open towards the sky as they are, kind of either side of the hips, or it can feel really nice, specifically to counter rounding, to lift the arms above your head, almost like cactus arms, or even just directly in front of the head, and letting the shoulders roll open across the chest. And then close your eyes or soft gaze, up to you. So this pose is wonderful if you have any migraines or have any shortness of breath, help to promote nice deep breathing. Also a wonderful pose for digestion. And of course, helping to reduce fatigue, not only physically, like in the legs and the feet, but just general fatigue throughout the whole body. Helps reduce anxiety and promotes deep sleep. So a nice thing to do before bed. Returning back to that soft, even breathing. Feel this deep sense of appreciation for this moment. Deep sense of love and self-respect, admiration. If you're pregnant, you can send warm, loving feelings down to your baby and feel connected, especially if they're wiggling around. And sometimes in postnatal yoga, you can let babe rest right on your chest in this pose and just feel united in that way. So we'll hold this for a few more rounds of breath. If there's another version of the pose you want to hold, either bringing the soles of the feet together or letting the legs go wide, feel free. Sometimes it can feel nice to mix it up. And returning to the breath. If your legs are bent, you can start to straighten them, bring the soles of the feet onto the wall or onto the chair. Gently start to walk yourself over to one side, rolling to one side. Turning your heart towards the floor, using your hands and arms, lifting yourself back up, and making your way back towards your mat. All right, so that is just lovely. I love that pose. Okay, so we're going to come to a reclined, a supported reclined pose now. So this one's really nice, and I'll, of course, give a couple different options. So for prenatal, it's nice to have a little bit of a higher support so you avoid deep back bend. So I like to stack blocks, so one at the highest setting and then one at the lowest setting. If you don't have blocks, you can use a combination of blankets and then your bolster or pillow on top. The blocks really give you nice height. So like I said, so that when you're resting on the bolster, you're not really doing a back bend. You're staying more in line with the bolster. If you are postnatal or further graduated and you want more of a heart opener, you want a deeper back bend, you can go a little bit further down with your prop, your blankets, your bolster. You want to make sure to bring your seat all the way so that it's touching the bolster before relaxing down. And then a few other options. You can keep the legs nice and long and extended if that feels good for you. You can bring the soles of the feet together, and this can feel really nice, placing a prop, whether it's towels or blankets, underneath each leg, and then letting yourself rest back from there. And that can feel really good too. Or one other option is you can roll a blanket or a towel and place it under the knees, which can feel really nice also. And then just let yourself rest back and be supported by the bolster, making any adjustments that you need to find that really comfortable posture or position. Letting your eyes close. And forgetting any of the outside world, allowing yourself the simple task of doing nothing. Maybe you swallow and relax your throat and your jaw once again. Eyes are closed, and you return back to that rhythm, gentle rise and fall of the breath. Starting with the crown of your head, you almost feel a tingling sensation as your head, your scalp begins to soften. The sensation moves down to your face, your temples. You feel your eyebrows relax. Peaceful expression across the face moves down to the eyes. You feel your eyes become heavy, like two stones sinking into a pond, moving you to a deeper state of relaxation. You feel the muscles of your face release. And perhaps there is the softest smile across your lips. Your jaw is light and your throat is open as you subtly feel the breath moving in and out of your body. Shoulders melt away from your ears as your chest opens, heart open a little deeper with every round of breath. You feel a sense of lightness, a deep sense of love, unconditional love for all that you are, all that you have, the deepest sense of gratitude. The muscles of the arms release and grow heavy as they fall towards the floor. The palms of the hands turn towards the sky with just the gentlest curve of the fingers. Ultimate relaxation. The breath moves into the rib cage, expanding and deep down into the belly. You feel the belly rise and gently fall. The organs of the belly have been massaged through our yoga poses, squeezing and wringing out old fluid so that new fluid can be around them. This helps with your digestion and overall well-being. You feel on your exhale the organs of the belly nestling back and down. And if you are carrying a little one, you envision that little one amid the organs of the belly. Perhaps a glow of light surrounds them as they are safe and warm in your womb. And maybe you rock your hips ever so slightly from side to side and give your lower back and your hips permission to release. You almost feel like someone is gently massaging the tops of the legs, releasing the muscles, and moving down to the knees, softening the knees, moving down the shins and the calves, and gently massaging around the ankles. You feel the heels touching the floor and the soles of the feet falling open to the sides. Toes resting. You feel a sense of lightness through the whole body, almost like you are hovering in space. And then your body grows heavy with relaxation. Your mind, your soul, in a deep space of peace, calmness, love. Slowly returning to your breathing. Perhaps you start to move your fingers and your toes. If your legs are bent, you can extend them out in front of you. And we can all take a big inhale as we reach the arms up and back behind us and point, flex the feet. Bring in a nice front body stretch. As we exhale, the hands can come down to either side of the hips. And bend the knees slightly, letting the soles of the feet rest on the mat. And gently rock the knees from side to side. Start to bring movement back to the body. Maybe slowly start to flutter the eyes open, adjusting back to the light in the room. And letting yourself roll to one side. Turning your heart towards the floor. Using hands and arms to lift you up to a nice easy seat. Taking your time. For a final moment of reflection, you can take the palms together and draw them back into your heart. Let your head bow slightly. Observe how your body feels after it has been stretched and relaxed. Observe your mind in a state of calmness and peace. New energy to give. Your heart space is filled with unconditional love and gratitude for giving yourself this time today to practice and to take care of yourself. Taking care of yourself is one of the most powerful ways to begin to care for others. Holding that in your hearts and beginning to think of your beautiful families who are waiting for you. Beautiful baby growing inside of you, maybe. And feeling that surge of fresh, new energy from your yoga practice today. Deep gratitude to share this space with each one of you beautiful women and mothers, as well as the wonderful Hive Family Collective. Deeply grateful to be here this evening. I wish you all a beautiful night's sleep, and may your energy continue to flow in through the week. Namaste.
Thank you, Colie. That was beautiful.
Thanks, guys. Nice practicing with you all.